For July 2024, we have a double Mythic Banner in Fire Emblem Heroes. Today we'll be talking about our 2 new heroes, plus briefly review the 10 other heroes available on the banner. First up, a fan favorite, we have Eikþyrnir. Eik is a colorless beast cavalier and is an Azura mythic that boosts defense. For stats from the trailer, I believe he has 45 HP, 47 attack, 16 speed, 47 defense, and 30 res. Super slow, and depending on super boons, he could tie for highest attack among all beasts with possibly the highest defense too. Now, for Ode skills, Eik just has Beast Threaten, relatively still new. This is from Summer Nithus. It inflicts -7 defense and panic on foes within 3 rows or 3 columns. No stat checks involved, but it only occurs on the player phase. If a foe is in that range, the user also gets +6 attack field boss and times pulse. Pretty interesting cooldown option for beast units. Now, Eikþyrnir's Quieting Antler, I believe, is the same from the story. Every turn, if within 2 spaces of an ally, Eik and those allies get +6 attack and defense field boss and the bonus doubler status. After start of turn skills trigger, Eik will then add +3 to any field boss on himself for allies within 2 spaces. This can max out at +10. For combat, he gets Concept 2 and accelerated specials. If Eikþyrnir initiates or is near an ally, he inflicts attack and defense debuffs equal to 6 plus 20% of his defense stat at start of combat. In addition, he deals true damage equal to X and gets flat damage reduction equal to 50% of X. X will be equal to the highest total field boss among Eik and allies within 3 spaces. First off, Eikþyrnir has a brand new mechanic of being able to grant additional field boss if allies have any active after start of turn. He will give allies +6 attack and defense himself and then bump it up to +9 total. To take advantage, he also grants bonus doubler, so that's another +9 in combat. His field buff focus shares a similar effect with Ashura's Recent Refine, although technically he did it first. You find the highest total amount of field buffs on anyone within 3 spaces, and this becomes true damage and flat DR. Eikþyrnir gives +9 attack and defense, so that's 18 total. He will deal 18 true damage and get 9 flat DR at the very least. Before I forget, as a beast cavalry unit, it gets even more attack and defense debuffs based on movement, and if the initiator moves 2 or more spaces, then he gets 30% DR for 1 hit. Luckily, Eikþyrnir will always be transformed with his unique beast skill, Divine Strength. After start of turn effects trigger at either phase, Eik will neutralize any penalties on himself. Pretty good ability. For combat, he inflicts -5 attack and defense on the foe, gets a free follow-up attack, and heals 7 HP after combat. He then does 2 stat comparisons, 1 for flat attack, 1 for flat defense. It gets a 5-point advantage, and each check 1 will inflict another -6 attack and defense debuffs. If he were to win both, that's a total of -17 debuffs just from this skill alone. With his weapon, that's possibly over -30 points, and again, the +9 field buffs do benefit these stat comparisons. Not a very complex unique skill, but pretty solid. For a surprise, Eikþyrnir similarly has an inheritable beast special. Fierce Beast ain't the best name, but it's a 2 cooldown special that boosts damage by X% of the user's attack. If transformed, X is 25% attack, otherwise it's 20% attack. The catch is that this is a DR piercing special. Like No Quarter, this is not the craziest special in terms of damage, but if you want DR piercing, then this is one of the few options, at least in terms of a self-sufficient build. Other skills include Beast Assault or Physical No Follow, but those are 50% pierce only. Lagu's Friend may be preferred for those bulky infantry beasts, but for beast cows and flyers, a low cooldown special option ain't too bad. This is pretty interesting with the still newish Beast Threaten, which has times pulse. If your beast has slaying like Eikþyrnir, then you can pre-charge Fierce Beast. If you double, you could potentially get 2 procs off as well. On top of being a 500 SP low cooldown option, if you want to pierce DR, Fierce is the brand new option. Last skill from Eikþyrnir is Attack and Defense Excel. This is the second Excel A skill. If unit or foe initiates after moving, grant +6 attack and defense and an extra +X, with X being how many spaces the initiator moved. This maxes out at 4 spaces, not exactly difficult with a certain emblem ring around. Now if the user initiates, you will get flat DR equal to X times 3. If the foe triggers their offensive special, you trigger the same flat DR bonus. Excel is basically an offshoot of the Clash skills and builds out of Attack and Defense Clash 3. Kyle and Young Frederick provide non-5-star ways to get that skill. Just a reminder, if you're enemy phasing with this, you only get flat DR when you get hit by a special. If you are initiating, you always get some kind of flat DR, assuming you move at least 1 space. Eikþyrnir is going to go for a field buff heavy kit. He offers attack and defense buffs, bonus doubler, and adds +3 to any other field buffs on nearby allies. In terms of support, that's pretty much it. If you lose those field buffs, well, not great. Eik can cleanse panic, but you can't really do anything against low effects like on the new Amelia. Like Ashera, Eikþyrnir does want speed and res field boss. The standard +6 boss on all 4 stats would become +9 with him, which is 36 true damage and 18 flat DR. Excel has more flat DR, Eik has a crap ton of attack debuffs, and he gets 30% DR for 1 hit as well. For offense, besides a ton of defense debuffs, Eik will pre-charge Fierce Beast every turn if Beast Threaten activates. 1 punch may be all he needs. If you like field boss or the current bonus double craze, then Eikþyrnir can help with that. Not a very fancy kit, but sometimes overwhelming numbers are all you need. The other mythic for this banner is Heiðrún. She's an anima mythic that boosts res, so our new mythics are gonna clash. Funny note, Kozaki posted Heiðrún's full art poses even though she didn't fight in the main story recently. This kinda tipped people off that chances were high she was gonna be playable very soon, and here we are. Now, Heiðrún is a green beast infantry, and while we didn't see her stats, expect something similar to Eikþyrnir, slow and bulky, but with a higher res focus. For old skills, Heiðrún has Aegis and Attack and Defense Bulwark 4, not a bad skill, but I assume serious players are just going to be slotting in the new old classic, Lagu's friend. Now, Heiðrún's weapon is the Nectar Horn. At start of either phase, if any foes are within 3 rows or 3 columns have less res than Heiðrún, she inflicts -7 attack and defense, the Discord status, the Deep Wound status, and an anti-miracle status on those foes. For combat, Heiðrún has accelerated specials. If the foe initiates or has more than 75% HP, inflict attack and defense debuffs on the foe equal to 6 plus 20% of Heiðrún's res from start of combat. She gets flat DR based on 20% res in combat. She neutralizes enemy attack and defense field boss. I wonder who that's for. And last, Heiðrún has breath type cooldown, and the infantry transformation bonus grants tempo to synergize with it. Nectar Horn's ploy effect is very similar to Fallen Julia's Refine. You got the standard tier 4 ploy range and res check. Discord debuffs grouped up throws harder, and Deep Wounds negates healing. The last status negates miracle type effects, so no 1 HP surviving unless it's the actual miracle special. I like to think of this as a Fatal Smoke ploy, and that was previously only on Fallen Julia. Negating healing without fighting is pretty good. Now, for her own combat, like Eikþyrnir, Heiðrún is looking pretty tanky. Attack and defense debuffs, flat DR scaling off of res. You got Aegis or Bulwark to combo with % DR. She has low attack and defense to deny field boss, plus slaying cooldown and tempo are all good together. Heiðrún's unique C skill is Divine Nectar. At start of either phase, she grants a Divine Nectar status to allies within 2 spaces. If a rally or movement assist is used by an ally with Divine Nectar, then that ally gets another action. Once per turn, and if they had an extra action effect that triggers at the same time, then that will also be counted with this, no double dipping. If Heiðrún is within 3 spaces of an ally, she inflicts an extra -5 attack and defense and guard on the foe. First off, Divine Nectar turns anyone into Crom and Lucina. If you use a rally or movement assist, you get another action. This is especially nasty because Heiðrún is a defense mythic. If you want to use something like Ruse 4 or even Link 4 B skills, Divine Nectar can allow anyone to capitalize after their effects are triggered in that turn. Moving on, the Divine Nectar status itself is pretty dang good. First, it neutralizes deep wounds in combat entirely. Second, it gives 20 instant healing at start of combat. Third, in the first fight per phase, the unit gets 10 flat DR for all hits. Divine Nectar is basically a Breath of Life Force status with some tweaks. I think this is the first time Deep Wounds is 100% countered, and by extension, this also fully counters Fatal Smoke. The healing effect is only 20 HP, which is still really good, but pair this with a Breath of Life 4 user and things are not going to be fun for someone. Finally, 1 fight each phase, the user gets 10 flat DR. Another flat DR source is definitely noteworthy. Last new skill for today is Stronghold. This should be inheritable by everyone because it appears to be the long-awaited Fortress Defense Res 4 upgrade. Inflict -3 attack on the user, grant +7 flat defense and res as well. At start of either phase, neutralize panic and any defense and res debuffs being applied at this time. Stronghold is an incredibly small upgrade stat-wise, so it's mainly about not getting hit by key common panic or defense and res debuff methods. This helps keep stats consistent, plus obviously you don't get hit by nasty effects that prey on debuffs. Keep in mind, Stronghold and other similar variants only block these debuffs at the start of each phase. Ruse skills or similar things apply debuffs during the phase, and this will not block those. Overall, Heiðrún looks pretty scary for multiple reasons. She's playing both sides of that healing game by inflicting deep wounds and then countering it completely. Reminder, this is only going to apply to the in-combat healing. Now, Divine Nectar gives instant healing and flat DR. Heiðrún gets these effects herself, so you can imagine why Lagu's friend is probably going to be a popular choice. With Pavis or Aegis, you can't cover both melee and range unless you want to use Emblem Ike. You could do Distant Counter, but that would replace Stronghold, which means lower ploy chances. Eikþyrn is going to be doubled a lot, but with Divine Nectar and her weapon, she can definitely get 20 plus flat DR. You add in Lagu's friend, that goes up to 30 plus flat DR. Good lord. In conclusion, if you like or dislike the crazy amounts of healing going on, well, Eikþyrn covers both sides. The Fatal Smoke ploy effect is very rare, and Divine Nectar is going to be an issue, not including the Comet part. Extra actions are always a menace and not really fun to play against. Instead of worrying about a few units, well, now you gotta worry about literally anyone with Divine Nectar. Gonna be some crazy setups for sure. Next, let's briefly cover the 10 other available units you can summon. In red, we have Kvasir plus legendary Elincia and Nanna. Blue has legendary Deirdre, legendary Caeda, and Mozu. Green has Eikþyrn, legendary Camilla, and attuned Azura. Colorless has Eikþyrnir, Mythic Loki, and legendary male Alear. Starting off, Kvasir is a dark mythic red mage cavalier. She's a glass cannon who relies on 70% DR to survive a hit, and she wants to charge her 4 cooldown lightest time special. If it procs, Kvasir can refresh an ally within 2 spaces. If there's no one to refresh, she gets a status that lets allies warp to her from within 4 spaces. To proc this special, she has breath type cooldown, no guard, and no follow-up. Her fodder skills are all pure damage. You get attack and speed catch for stats, low speed and res 4 to neutralize field boss, and then inside attack and speed for self boss and just more stats. Next, legendary Elincia is a high attack and speed sword flyer. She has Sling, dual phase brave sword that also has no guard and Kanto 2. Her C skill grants allies no follow-up and acts like a guidance 4 warp beacon for anyone. It also is a 4-space Omni rain debuff. To help reach her targets, Elincia is still the only unit with aerial maneuvers, Desperation on high HP, and its own 2-space warp. Her other fodder skill is attack and speed clash, which is still solid. Last up is legendary Nanna, fast sword cavalier whose lance sword pierces all non-special % skills and completely prevents defensive specials from activating. It also has offense and no follow-up. Her B skill has any HP desperation, near trace Kanto, and 20% attack as true damage. Nanna has attack and speed push 4 and attack and speed menace, which are both a bit dated at this point. You could use push for recall damage though. This red group is very offense focused. Getting hit is not going to end well for any of these units. Moving on to blue, we have legendary Deirdre. She's a high attack and res blue infantry mage. Her slaying tome is also a dragon slaying tome and negates adaptive damage. It gives a free follow-up, and if she has higher flat res than the enemy, she inflicts extra attack and res debuffs. Deirdre's unique special is a 2 cooldown iceberg and has a miracle effect if any special is ready and if she is either initiating or facing a ranged foe. Unfortunately, it works once per map and is considered a non-special miracle, so Fatal Smoke 4 and Eikþyrn status does counter it. For fodder, Deirdre has Stillwater 4, Attack and Res Tempo 3, and Attack and Res Menace. Not bad, but a little old. Last month was Attuned Caeda. This month is legendary. He's a flying lance unit with good speed. Her lance has armor and cav effectiveness, Kanto 2, and steals the foe's field boss. Her B skill gives advantage against armors and cows. After any fight, Caeda also gets a Vantage status. It also gives offense and no follow. For skills, Caeda has attack and defense rain 3 and is the only unit with distant storm. This is the plus 5 attack distant counter, but it comes with 5 recoil damage. Last in blue is Mozu. She's a high stat lance infantry. Her weapon grants defense from his field boss and a breath type cooldown status to nearby allies. It has sling, and Mozu gets extra stats, flat DR, and heals on hits based on how many nearby allies she has. If she is near a divine vein or difficult terrain, she gets the max bonus anyway. Now to fully self-buff, Mozu has attack and speed oath 4. She has bonus doubler 4 if you want the plus 4 stats over a distant counter, and is the only unit with attack and speed bulwark 4. The blue group is a little old except for Mozu. She can have some fun with Eikþyrnir's field buff enhancements. Our green group will have the new Mythic Heiðrún. For fodder, Stronghold is brand new. Good if you want flat defense res and you want to avoid panic and debuffs. Attack and defense bulwark 4 is not bad as a % DR and small sustain option, but it doesn't stop warping, which is kinda a big issue at the moment. Joining Heiðrún is legendary Camilla. She's a flying green mage who can deal a lot of instant damage if she outspeeds. That niche now has a counter in Breath of Life 4 and Eikþyrn herself. For other effects, Camilla's tome has Sling, Kanto, and some % DR with Sustain. Her B skill is still quite good. Long range speed and res debuffs with the Sabotage status being applied. It also gives nearby allies a 50% DR piercing status. Camilla herself gets offense and a follow-up and no guard as well. For other skills, Remote Spell is a % initiation option. Daily Miasma is a pretty strong initiation skill with -5 debuffs, the Low effect, and a Savage Blow effect for flyers. It also lays down that haste to rain. Last up is attuned Azura, Cavalry Dancer. This Azura's unique dance grants +1 movement and the incited status. Her weapon grants nearby allies attack and speed field buffs, the no follow-up status, and the no panic status. Azura will get contour distance +1 for some absurd retreat options. She's still the only unit with attack and defense cantrip 3, which is the attack and defense debuffs and sabotage type skill after you dance. Her attuned skill is Mercy Wing Echo, which is just Wings of Mercy 3. For other skills, Firestorm Boost is just fun bonus HP and Guard is an A skill. Crossbow attack can support allies from long ranges. Overall, green is not bad. Camilla may have gotten dragged down a bit, but her 50% DR Pierce status is still good. Attuned Azura is always valuable for foddering and a very mobile dancer. Maybe not the craziest fodder group for general usage, but not bad if you want the new Mythic. Last up, the Colorless group has our second new Mythic. Eikþyrnir has some interesting fodder. Attack and Defense Excel could be fun for those looking for flat DR. We then have, assumingly, an inheritable DR Piercing Beast Special. May not be for everyone, but still very good. To pair with it, you could also grab Beast Threaten. It's pretty easy to grab all of Eik's skills if you're a Beast unit. Now joining Eikþyrnir, we have the first reruns for 2 other heroes. One is Mythic Loki. She's a Dark Mythic Flying Healer. Loki's C skill is a Ploy Force skill that trades stat debuffs for gravity. It can also neutralize statuses if foes in the Ploy range have 3 or more status effects active. That's very strong against status heavy teams. From her staff, Loki gets -1 cooldown every turn, Conto and Sling. She gets a free follow-up and Wrathful Staff to go with her Dazzling Discord B skill, which is only on this Loki. With her free cooldown, Loki can proc Glitter of Light, which inflicts flash on foes. She also has Return Plus and Tech and Res Catch 4. Very solid unit for your healers. Last up for today is legendary Alear. He's a colorless dragon with high speed and a little bit of high res. Like his female counterpart, he's a dual phase brave attacking dragon. He gets half DR piercing on every hit and has Scowl built into his weapon. His A skill comes with distant counter, gives 40% DR, and if near 3 allies on the enemy phase, Alear gets Miracle once per map and a full heal afterwards. Eikþyrnir status does counter this. Now, this Alear has some fun fodder. He is the only unit with Dragon's Roar, inheritable dragon special that has unpierceable DR if specials are ready. It's a res counterpart to that new Gust special. This Alear has speed and res bulwark if you want it, and the solid attack and speed pledge for buffs and cooldown. In general, Colorless has a lot of newer skills, including the Beast and Dragon inheritable specials. If you want Eikþyrnir, not a bad time to summon. That'll be it for this video. Double Mythics right before CYL is certainly going to draw some orbs. We still got more Book 8 Beast on the way, and with the current Book 5 Tempest Trial side plot, we're almost certainly going to get a Reginald, just like we did for Furum, Air, and Peony. Personally, I wouldn't mind either new Mythic, but Sacred Stones took all my orbs, and I'm all in on Brave Alphonse this year with whatever I got left. I do think Eikþyrnir looks pretty annoying to face. I wonder if instant healing is going to get a better counter, because Eikþyrnir kind of just killed the current one. I guess you could just remove Divine Nectar itself. Easier said than done though. Now, that's everything I wanted to talk about for this video. Good luck if you're planning on summoning. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.